Yeah, like okay, buddy. Yeah, no, I was like pretty interested in this game specifically, right? Um, because it's from the creators of Danganronpa, so that's the only reason why.
Brawling narratives I've played in a minute. Our setting takes place in the not so far future of 20XX, in the prefecture of Neo Tokyo. Before the events of the game, bands of youth, fed up with the state of the world, assembled into tribes and battled it out in a series of violent gang wars. The tribe fights got so bad, the government had to step in. Not to fix any of the issues, but instead pass a law stating all tribe disputes will be settled with extreme baseball. With this law in place, everything was perfect, and everyone just played baseball in peace.
Really?
What? What the hell? Really? That's the backstory or so for this game? Huh.
No, not at all. 2 years later, a masked weirdo calling himself Zero takes over the entire world. Thanks to his fleet of satellite laser weapons, now each of Tokyo's 23 cities are under Zero's thumb and are subjected to sick and twisted death games with no end in sight. That's where you come in. Or should I say, Yo. Yo Kurosaka, the player character, is abducted by Zero with no recollection of any of this. So
Yo Kurosaka.
you set out with your tribe in the hopes of overthrowing Zero's tyranny and crushing each of his minions along the way. To do this, Yo and his gang will explore the cities of Neo Tokyo.
But the problem is, right? The one of the big things specifically about this, if I remember correctly, I think this is a gotcha game? Question mark, right?
Recruiting new allies, augmenting their strength with portable monsters, and squaring off against the numbers in extreme baseball matches.
The numbers, Mason. What do the numbers mean?
And so far, it appears that Tribe 9 has 4 distinct flavors of video game to serve up to the player. And in my over 30 hours of play for this closed beta, the vast majority of that time was spent attempting.
So he spent 30 hours, and so they were okay. So they held a beta for this game. That's interesting. Okay.
To master its nuanced combat system. So let's start there and work our way down. The entire city of Shinagawa is one giant dungeon in Tribe 9. Puzzles and treasures to find, but also opposing tribe members, with their robotic fiends that want nothing more than to crush your balls. Baseballs, if that wasn't clear. In battle, you have 2 actions and 1 ultimate skill, as well as a basic auto attack combo to unleash on your foes. And you'd think with only 4 ways of doing damage that the characters would be pretty straightforward, but I was shocked at how much skill expression they crammed into these units. Well, some of them. Yo's the starting character. He's pretty straightforward. Just makes sense, right? You use skill 1 to get your attack buff up, then use skill 2 before the buff goes away to maximize your DPS. Super duper simple. Also a little flat. Basically two-dimensional. But then I played Inoki Yukigaya, a woman who can't stop putting
Whoa, I like her outfit, to be honest. Damn, I like her fit.
things in her mouth, and I fell in love. This chick's crazy, and that reflects in her gameplay. The more aggressive and daring you play, getting perfect parries and perfectly dodging, her sword gets hotter and hotter until you unleash all that stored up heat for one.
Why does that sound like a sex joke, to be honest? God damn it, dude. Why does that sound like a sex joke?
Giant slam dunk, and it saying it's satisfying would be a disservice, but you can't use the same move over and over again or the heat gauge will die down, so you need to be bold and tactical to deal optimal damage. And honestly, really impressive character kit design from the outset.
So okay, so she's basically like a berserk character, right? I think that's probably like a good way to reference it, right? She's basically building up like kind of like a heat gauge or like kind of like a gauge or something like that to on her sword or so to build, to build a certain meter or so to unleash powerful damage or so. I don't know what the best way to kind of describe it or so. I was just saying berserk class or so, but it could be something completely different or so.
For Yo, he got kind of boring, but that might be the point. The fights themselves are a ton of fun as well. Enemies have varied and sometimes unorthodox ways of attacking you that definitely aren't the standard. And learning the parry timings for these attacks, it just feels so rewarding. You're like, oh, it's impossible. Then you figure it out and you're like, Man, I'm the man. But it wouldn't be an RPG if there wasn't an aspect of customization, and Tribe 9 does this with portable monsters. Intention cards, both which augment your character in different ways. These pocket monsters.
It's a fatty! They got a fatty in this game, chat. Look at that. God damn, man. Look at it. Look at this chungus bungus boy. God damn. He's a chonkers, man.
Are just
Well, if he slammed, does any of his moves slam on the ground and cause an earthquake? It'd be the most goated character ever, to be honest.
static buffs that your character gets with randomized parameters. You get.
Hey, you want to know something? At least if this is a gacha game or so, right? At least they have like different body proportions compared to another certain game. Not calling them out or anything, not calling them out. At least they have like different body proportions.
By visiting dungeons, not exactly revolutionary or anything, but it's the standard, I guess, for a reason. People like it. I did alright just aiming for the main stats that complemented my characters. I didn't think the RNG was that bad, at least in the beta. The way more dynamic and interesting mechanic are tension cards, though. These baseball cards have different effects for you to mix and match depending on your playstyle, and grant new abilities and bonus stats depending on the level of tension you are currently at. Some cards activate as soon as the battle starts, also known as tension level 0. They're okay effects, nothing game-changing. Usually cards that have tension level 0 have some upsides, but maybe a few downsides, so they're not absolutely broken. But as you continue to fight more and more, the tension bar builds, and you unlock incredibly powerful abilities with full tension, like buffs to crit rate or doubling your ultimate skill damage. But to balance
Interesting. That's interesting. Huh.
things out, maintaining full tension isn't exactly an easy feat, as the gauge depletes rapidly and lowers when you receive an enemy's attack.
What's the tension gauge on here? Is it this thing right here? Or is it this thing here? So I'm trying. Enemy's tension phase was increased. Okay, so I assume this is the tension gauge, right? Let me see. Oh, it is. This is the tension gauge right here. Okay, I see. I
tension
see.
isn't exactly an easy feat, as the gauge depletes rapidly and lowers when you receive an enemy's attack. And oh, you better believe the enemy has a tension gauge too, and when that thing fills up, all hell breaks loose. The enemy will use attacks that are more challenging to dodge, just come out faster, and may even inflict a status effect. And if you get hit with one of those, things can quickly spiral out of control. Speaking of statuses, the whole—
Whoa, is this the Dark Souls of Danganronpa? Damn, dude, they're doing Dark Souls in this game? Shit, everything's gonna be Dark Souls now. Now I'm gonna do what Asmongold, I'm gonna do what Asmongold did or so when he was trying to like compare what is it, that one game or so that's made by BDO or so, right? He compares it to like Dark Souls, right? Or Elden Ring, right? Elden Ring is like peak combat, okay? All right? It's like super peak, okay? This don't look good whatsoever. The graphics are not that great, but don't get me wrong. Elden Ring graphics don't look that super crazy. But you want to know something? The art style for it is pretty crazy. And you want to know something? The combat in Elden Ring is super freaking peak and everything. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's like 100% peak. Everything. It's not flawed whatsoever. The game is just perfect. It's a 10 out of 10. But this game don't look that great. It just doesn't. It's just you can see this hitbox here. I'm dodging right here. You can see that. Stamina bar and everything. Who does it like that?
Spiral out of control. Speaking of statuses, the whole game—
I don't really know, because I remember specifically watching a certain Asmongold video, right? He was criticizing or so of a certain game, right? And what was it? What was it specifically? He was like comparing it to fucking like Elden Ring, saying that Elden Ring is just way peak and everything and all that stuff. And everyone in the comment section was like, "Bro, stop comparing everything to Elden Ring." I'm like, yeah, he's not wrong. Like they're not. The comment section's not wrong. He always compares like every action game or so to Elden Ring. And it's kind of like, bro, like Elden Ring is a Souls-like game. That's a different completely genre compared to the game that it was being presented or so. It was more of a third-person hack and slash kind of game, right? Single-player, third-person hack and slash, very action-oriented, Compared to Elden Ring, it's a little bit more slower, you know, it's a little bit more punishing, you know, it's a little bit more methodical with some things or so, you know. It's not really like super ridiculously fast paced like, you know, like they showed in the demo or like Metal Gear Revengeance, you know.
Revolves around them. These impairments are another way to build the tension gauge, and they have varying effects, like slowing down the enemy's tension gauge, stunning the opponent.
What if he reviews it dating? So he'll probably compare it to Elden Ring too as well. We'll be lying to Sanaka be doing the same thing. Let me see. What would I compare it to? What game would I compare it to? He's gonna say that Elden Ring has better characters today. He'll probably say that. No, I don't play. I don't play any Sims. No, I didn't grow up with Sims.
Each player has a type of impairment they link up with, and a type of impairment that they deal. And playing without these is really, really challenging. So you want to keep this in mind when building your party. Overall, the gameplay was really deep for me, and I even died.
Interesting. So there's like team. Interesting. So there's like team groups and everything. You know.
Slowing down the enemy's tension gauge, stunning the opponent, or breaking their stance. Each player has a type of impairment they link up with, and a type of.
So they have sweaty gamer girl water with sweaty gamer guy water. Girl water, guy water. And then he has fucking Twitch stars, you know, E for effort with this boy. And then this guy has smelly rotten tomatoes with smelly rotten tomato girl. Interesting.
Of impairment that they deal. And playing without these is really, really challenging, so you want to keep this in mind when building your party. Overall, the gameplay was really deep for me, and I even died a few times, which is unbelievably rare because I'm so good at video games and I never die ever. But when you're not in battle, you're either exploring Neo Tokyo's beautifully rendered world or reading the story. And man, this game has a lot of story, but it's actually worth reading for once. I can't believe it.
Oh, there's a lot of story. Well, we all know for a fact, you know, we all know this for a fact that freaking Asmongold is not gonna like it. He's gonna be like, yeah, in Elden Ring, you know, the story is just way better, you know, even though there's no story and you just kind of have to like, you know, read the descriptions of everything and all that stuff, you know, is 10 times more better than this game. I don't have to read so damn much because I know for a fact what's happening in Elden Ring, you know. But compared to this game, I have to sit down and hear them speak or so and explain the story to me, you know. I bet you that's what Asmongold would probably say, something in that sort of nature. So if he's trying to if he really like tries to compare this game to like Elden Ring or so, he's probably gonna be saying that.
I'm a fan of the past creators' works, and I appreciate all the visual trademarks and callbacks, but even divorced from that fan service, this is an incredibly rich world with very colorful dialogue. It's funny one minute, sad the next. It's a roller coaster, and roller coasters are fun. It ruled. I loved every moment, every beat of all the characters interacting. Outside of like one or two was memorable to me, and they all had a part to play in taking out Zero's minion of the Shinagawa arc, which was Kazuma Ichinose. Without giving too much away, you collaborate with the former leaders of Shinagawa's tribe, Yutaka Gotanda and his secretary, Minami Oi, to climb the corporate ladder and take back the city, as under Ichinose's management, pointless executions have become the new status quo.
He already did a comparison, but to ZZZ? Wait, he did? Oh, I forgot about that, actually. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather play this one than Zenless Zone Zero, in my personal opinion, because I know for a fact the story is gonna be way more fascinating and way more interesting than Zenless Zone Zero, 100%. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what Asmongold is talking about. What kind of shit he be smoking or so, right? I'm just gonna have to object that the story is pretty not great in Zenless Zone Zero. It's way more interesting in Danganronpa's, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if the story in Tribe 9 is actually really well made as well, because he you know, the author does really do good stories or something, good twists. I can already hear Asmongold's voice in a video.
You explore various landmarks of Shinagawa, and it all culminates in an XP showdown, which is a baseball game combined with a bit of, you know, deduction and reasoning to stack the odds in your favor and win the match. While you're out in the city, you may come across characters who speak about the opposing team and what it's like, you know, under Ichinose's rule, and you gain these statements as a weapon for the XP match to throw off your opponent and, make them miss the pitch. I thought the XP matches were just on-rail cutscenes, but no, it's a real baseball match, and you need to consider your pitches and how you swing. Admittedly,
Really? That's interesting. So they have this like kind of like baseball mini game or so in the actual game itself. Huh, that's interesting. I was actually not expecting this.
it's pretty easy to figure out where you need to hit the ball or throw it, but the idea that you could lose and have to repeat it keeps you on your toes. That being said, I hardly even know anything about the sport and came out ahead, so I feel like it's pretty forgiving for non-sports fans. In an era of stagnation where risk-adverse studios are too afraid to
Yo, man, I ain't gonna lie though. This fatty got moves, man. You saw this fat boy running? You see this fat boy running? Look at this dude. Look at this dude.
Stagnation where risk-adverse studios
Look at this
are too
dude.
afraid to make anything outside of the status quo comes Tribe 9, and it's easily the freshest and most interesting.
Yo, man, you know for a fact in real life a fat guy does not move like that whatsoever. A real fat dude does not run and dodge or any of that shit in real life.
Stagnation where risk-adverse studios are too afraid to make anything outside of the status quo comes Tribe 9, and it's easily the freshest and most interesting game I've played all year.
What is this? Is this a gacha game or is this an actual full-blown game?
And this is only the beta. That being said, I do have some critiques, as there are a few things I think they could improve upon. So in Tribe 9, when you return to a safe pod, your party is completely healed. However, if a character is dead, they will not be revived. To my knowledge, you can only do this with a med kit, or going back to the hotel, visiting the nurse, and reviving them free of charge. The thing is, you can warp to the nurse at any time, and you only really lose some progress, so why can't you just fully revive them at the safe pod? It would just save you a couple clicks if you just took out the nurse. I don't want to take out the nurse because, she's a cutie pie, but she's a little redundant. You also can't quickly dispatch weak enemies if you significantly outlevel them. The other baseball bat RPG figured it out 30 years ago. Come on, guys. What are we doing? When I'm exploring
I see.
Shinagawa for upgrade material, I don't want to get jumped by some plebs, load into a fight, hit them twice, get 2 EXP, load out of the fight. Just cut that crap out. We don't need it. I'm also a bit concerned about this game's opening hours. While I loved this start, I won't lie, it did feel a little long-winded in some parts, and I imagine less patient players would have dropped the game before getting to the good parts. So truncating that portion would be my...
I can tell automatically, what's his name? Asmongold, right? Fucking Asmongold would immediately drop the game or so if there's like so much dialogue at the beginning of the game or because that's how it was with Zenless Zone Zero. So he was like ordering or he was trying to take a look or so to go to a mattress store for a new mattress. So this would probably be not his game.
My number one priority. I'm just trying to think about this game as not just a game, but a phone game, Oh yeah, it's a phone game. Did I mention that?
Okay, so it is a gacha game. Okay, so that just confirms that this is a gacha game.
Phone game. Oh, I got it, didn't it? I guess it's easy to forget because it genuinely doesn't feel like one. You power up your characters organically, and you clear out the story no problem. Like, I feel they wanted to make a big budget action RPG, but they don't know how to get funding. So they turned it into a live service thing at some point. For those curious...
Really? Wait, can I hear that again?
I'm just trying to think about this game as not just... Phone game. Oh, I got it, didn't it? I guess it's easy to forget because it genuinely doesn't feel like one. You power up your characters...
It doesn't feel like one. I'm wondering if that's only just in the beta, though. Like, I'm curious how it's going to be on the final release of the game, Because remember, right, the beta, they usually give you so much material, so much rewards, easier gacha system, right? That like the rates are a bit different or so compared to the final release of the game itself. I'm curious if this is gonna come over to the final release of the game.
Organically, and you clear out the story no problem. Like, I feel they wanted to make a big budget action RPG, but they don't know how to get funding. So they turned it into a live service thing at some point. For those curious about the gacha elements, you basically have a limited banner, a card banner, and a permanent banner. You have 80 rolls to get a guaranteed 3-star character.
Okay, so this is basically just like Genshin Impact and Withering Waves and so forth, so forth. But my question is there gonna be is there going to be a pity, like a soft pity system? There has to be a soft pity system for this game, right? Unless they don't have it in this game. Unless they don't have it in this.
Or card, and if you don't get the limited character or card on the first go around, after your next 80 rolls, you will get the guaranteed exclusive item. So basically, 50-50 pity system with 3% draw rates. And yeah, that might be a deal breaker for some. I'm hoping they adjust the rates to be more competitive, but that's all.
No, they're not gonna do it. They're here to make money at the end of the day, so they're not gonna change the rates. People who always say these specific things or so in the video or so, saying, oh, I'm hoping they change the rates or so, you know, for the final release. Nah, fam, they ain't gonna do that shit, to be honest.
A whole nother discussion. Tribe 9 is definitely worth your time. I hope you check it out if they run another beta. I guarantee you won't regret it. Thanks for watching my video. Like and subscribe for more Tribe 9 content.
Interesting. That's very interesting, actually. It's actually very interesting because I am pretty interested in this game, Tribe 9 or so, because it is from the creators of Danganronpa. So I was just like, oh, this is really cool. I really do like this. I really do like the art style of Danganronpa personally. I do have to say, huh? Very interesting. You got Q and E, you got left click, and you got right click. I'm hoping I can press shift or so to dodge, so I don't have to, you know, I don't have to right click or so to dodge. I don't like using right click to dodge, personally. You gotta be able to change characters. You can change the 3 characters. It looks like this is your meter. This is the boss's meter. I see. This is very interesting, though. This I do have to say, this would be very interesting to see how this game is. You know. The longevity of this game is gonna be. It's gonna be very interesting how this game, because I know for a fact a lot of people who are fans of Danganronpa will probably check this game out, but I know people who don't like the gacha system is not gonna like it themselves, right? But if he says it feels organically right, and it kind of you just kind of don't remember it's a gacha system, right, or it's a gacha game in general, then maybe there won't be any problems or so with some of the fan bases there, because we all know we know that there's some people that don't like gacha games, you know. So if they could find the right balance or so to make it feel super like it's a gacha game, but then like you kind of forgot that it's a gacha game, you know, that'd be very interesting. There's definitely gonna be some power creeps or so, like over, you know, yeah, power creeping or so for new characters later down the line, 100%. But we'll see how they handle it, because this will be technically their first, what, I think that this will be their first gacha game, at least for this specific thing. Anyways, I don't know if they made other ones, because I'm not really too aware of it, you know. I'm not really aware or in the touch or in the know with this studio, but I'll be interested to see what's gonna happen. Yeah, like I said, I'll watch over if they do another beta or so. I'll try to see if I can get into the next beta for this game. That was pretty cool, actually. That was a very interesting video, very 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 interesting video indeed. So I'll definitely be taking a look at some of the stuff. His skits kind of remind me of another YouTuber. That's the reason why. So his intro skit itself. Okay. All right. I can't wait. I'll be interested to see it. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to take a look at it. That was a very interesting video. And you guys can comment, like, subscribe, you know, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. You guys can let me know specifically what you think about this game itself. And yeah, that's the end of the video.